Okay, so where do I start? This video is going to be about how cultures and things have changed when I was a young lad to young people these days, what difference is. I mean, I was born in the summer of 1969, just after man stepped on the moon. Yes, they stepped on the moon. I know, it's mad, isn't it? But it's not just that, it's the cultures and the different way we live our lives. In the 70s, I can't remember much about it because I was only young. The 80s, I remember the 80s and 90s, definitely the 80s. Things in the 80s, like before mobile phones, before computers, before the PCs and Apples, it was like the basic computers in them days. So we had different ways to live our lives, reading books, listening to the radio, 4 channels on TV rather than hundreds, That's the era I lived in. Also, it was the era of the carry-on films, where nowadays it's not politically correct to do what they did in films. The same as in sickness and health and that kind of stuff. There's loads of TV programmes in the 70s and 80s that you look back now and they're, breaking the rules. But in them days, they weren't. It was humour, but it was like, okay, that's a bit too close, but, there's nothing stopping us doing it, so do it. The humour side of things, the carry-on films, the unpolitically correctness it was in, which in them days, that didn't really exist. So you look back at them days. So I can understand nowadays younger people finding offence from films in them days, but they didn't live them decades. They weren't there to see how it affected people, which it hardly did. Maybe the odd few, but they've never had voices in them days. They just took it as it is. Slapstick comedy kind of thing, And even in schools, there was a cane, there was discipline. Teachers could discipline kids. The cane was used to discipline kids. Now, it's... if a kid's been a bit nasty in class, you can't do anything apart from let them do it, In them days, you can give them the cane, get a bit of discipline. So, I think now we're seeing kids from non-caning days growing up and having their kids, and it's hard to see. Unless you live them decades, you shouldn't really moan about it. Unless it was really serious, there were some serious things going on that no one knew, like the Jimmy Savile thing and that kind of stuff. If it was proved in them days, then my God, you deserved all the punishment you got. But when people nitpick and look back at people's Twitters and feeds and see something they said 10 years ago, 10 years ago it was a different culture. Going back to when I was younger, I was taught to respect people. I was taught to respect everyone you see, no matter what, and open doors for women, be nice and kind, because it's respect. Now, if you open a door for a woman, some women, it's sexual harassment because you're trying to get into their knickers. No. No, not my generation, Gen X. No, that was told to us. We must respect and blah blah blah. Well, most of us, 90% of us. So it's a crazy world. If you're young now in your 20s, right, you look at what the culture is now, and maybe a few years ago, look at the culture, what's happening. Say in 20 or 30 years' time, what happening now is wrong, is classed as, don't know. Well, it's hard to say because you don't expect it, There was no labels when I was younger. there was no mental health issues. It was, well, the people had it, but it was pushed to the carpet, you know. There's a lot of things that people complain about that they don't know what they're complaining about. Most people who complain are people who never even experienced or never even lived. You know, when the people moan about TV programmes, often I've never watched a programme, they're just going by what other people have said. So the way things are going, even though now we're down into a pandemic and lockdown, and people have to stay in. This is another example. A few years ago, they tried to give us ID cards, but we said no. Now they're getting our DNA from COVID tests. They're getting the passports with chips in it, so that's an ID card. We're getting, you know, doing these Zoom calls and kind of things. That's getting you more on the internet, on the face, your face known more, and you can take face tracking from that and that kind of stuff. So what we said no 2 years ago is actually happening now under our eyes because of the pandemic. Which no, I'm not going to conspiracy theories. That's not what this is about. You make your own mind on that one. But it's it's a funny old world, isn't it? I mean, if someone was said to you 10 years ago that we'll be in lockdown and this kind of stuff, you would have gone, yeah, sure the country's got it in hand, you know. If a pandemic happened, we'll be prepared. We will be prepared. We can fight them on the beaches, you know. The reason why I'm doing this video is because I've been subscribed to someone on YouTube which I never knew about, and you're looking at it and you think, oh, he's got makeup on, but do I listen to him to watch his video? But I took a chance, and my God, he's totally right. It's Pierre Exo, yeah, that's his name. His link will be below. He does this talking with background behind him, and he just talks about topics, but it's all you're watching thinking, yeah, he's got a big point, he's got a point. It's the first time I've come across a YouTuber that I could say tells the truth, you know, after his own mind. No matter, some people might think it's not, but he definitely thinks what he says is true. So, you know, so I thought, you know what, I'm not going to copy his style, of course, because I'm a lot older and I don't wear makeup. But I just want to make a point that not all YouTubers are nasty, narcissistic people. You know, there are some good ones out there. There are some ones who want to get their voice across, want to talk about topics that mean a lot to them and things like that. And he does that. He's, you know, he says it as it is in his own mind, and you got to respect people for telling their views and stuff, even if you might not agree with it. It's what part of YouTube is about. And even though we're slowly losing freedom of speech by all these social media platforms banning stuff and deleting stuff, and if you say these words, and you know, you get Twitter gets deleted or Twitch gets deleted, and you know, our freedom of speech is getting less and less. The more people do wrong, you know, one person does one little thing wrong accidentally, and it changes the whole platform. You know, it's getting to the point where I've stopped paying to breathe. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. It's one of them subjects I want to get into more. I want to talk more like this and talk more about life's little niggles and the way the world is supposed to be, but it isn't, kind of thing. You know. Don't know. But I just think before you criticise something from 30 years ago or 40 years ago, think, have you lived for that era? And what you're doing now, will it be the same in 30 years' time for you? What you're saying now? Before we criticise people, look at what you're saying yourself and doing yourself. And if you can legally criticise and mean you for it, then do it. But talk to people, like humans, talk to people without pointing a finger and shouting. Talk to people. I was always taught to talk, not to fight. I've never been a fighting person, but I've always been one to talk things over and that kind of stuff. And that's where I'm proud to say that, because I've solved many problems just by talking. You don't have to use fists. And yeah, don't know really. I just wanted to say that. It's it's 8:20 in the morning. I didn't think I'm making a video at 8:20 in the morning. So I don't know when this will go up. Hopefully it'll go up today or tomorrow, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to edit the background, see what I can put in there. Yeah, let me know what you think. Do you think this is okay? Comment, let me know. And my website is now up and running, so you can check on that. darrenkeenan.co.uk. Just the link will be somewhere there or on the screen. The title will be on the screen. Yeah, check it out. There's still a lot of work to do on it, but now it's live. I can edit as I go along and add things to it and change a few things here and there. And if you think there's something I could add to it, let me know. I can add pages, I can add stuff. I pay a subscription to Squarespace, so I can do a lot to it. Yeah. Okay. And as always, stay safe and don't let things get to you, even though it's quite easy. My mental health's been through so much the past few months, but I'm finding steady ground. I'm finding steady ground. Okay, so check out Pierre XO. You might not like it. Don't judge a book by its cover. That's all I can say. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's talking about, and he's got a damn good way of doing it. See you later, Dasslers.